Yo, we got a video here today. And apparently the guys in Australia are slacking off. And I guess in general they're saying all guys are slacking off. Let's get right into it.
For many, this wouldn't come as a surprise, but new research has revealed Australian men are slacking off when it comes to chores around the home. In fact, as Ollie Haig explains, they're not doing any more housework now than they were doing 20 years ago.
Running around with two kids, Courtney Galajore.
For starters, she's not running. They're running around with two kids. And they're going to bring up the fact of shopping for groceries as part of that's hard labour. Newsflash, you can get your groceries delivered to your home now. You can even get them pre-packaged, pre-bagged. So when you drive there, you just go pick them up. But I mean, that takes a little bit of research, I guess.
Exhausted.
Cleaning, shopping, cooking.
You must be tired.
Yeah, we're in the cusp of no sleep at the moment. Who does more work at home, me or Daddy? Mummy.
Turns out Courtney is...
Who does more work outside of home? Mummy or Daddy? Who works an extra 10 hours per week? Mummy or Daddy? They're not going to answer that question. They're not going to ask that question.
Isn't alone. A University of Melbourne survey of 17,000 Australians finding while women are working significantly more than ever before and doing 5 hours less housework than 20 years ago, men haven't picked up the slack at home, despite spending slightly more time at their jobs. As for caring for loved ones...
So they're not going to talk about, on average, if you include work and home, guys are still doing 4.5 hours more than the ladies, but the focus seems to be on this housework. They could care less that the guys literally working 10 hours more on a job site, making the money to go and buy the groceries. Because without someone making the money, you can't complain about, I've got to go buy the groceries. You won't be able to afford them without that extra 10 hours.
Ones, both are slightly up, with women still doing the heavy lifting.
Cleaning robots now, that might take a part of the work, but maybe some of the work is just not being done anymore.
How do you divide it up between the two of you?
I think probably about 20-60. Yeah, so yeah.
As in you're 20?
I'm on 20, yeah.
The research also shows men are...
That doesn't even make sense. 20-60. I mean, that doesn't even make 100. But I mean, they obviously handpicked these... They just pick them out on the street and they're going to give just soft, wussy answers.
Generally satisfied with how the work is divided up, whereas women feel they do more than their fair share at home. So why aren't men getting their hands dirty? Well, in short...
They are. They're getting their hands dirty to the tune of 10 more hours per week on a job site. And 20 years ago, they were working 15 more hours. They want to talk about this pay gap. I mean, even if they're working the same job and making the same money, let's make that assumption. If you're working 2 more days extra, you're going to make more money. And even fast forward 20 years today, they're still working an extra day and change. That's going to equal more money.
Because experts say they want to work, even in the case of paid parental leave available when they have a child.
They tend to earn more than their female partners, and so a family cannot really forego much of the father's income for a longer time.
So they're complaining that he's not picking up the slack at home, but if he did that, his job, which earns more money, won't be replaced by her secretary job. I mean, him doing... like a plumbing, for example, him doing some hard labor, he can't afford to miss that. Or else, guess what? The rent's due and that shopping cart is due.
Favourite chore? Can I start with my least favourite is I don't like bed making.
I'm lucky my partner works from home and he's also a very good cook and a fastidious cleaner.
Ollie Haig, 9 News.
Fastidious, quite a fancy word there. I mean, I think that means like meticulous, maybe. I don't know. I don't use words like that. So now we shift gears to the Wall Street Journal as to why the ladies and us guys are apparently on different paths.
American women are giving up on marriage, in part thanks to huge and growing gender gaps in education, politics, finances, and family values. Historically, finding a romantic partner has been a typical milestone of adulthood, but now that's changing. More than half of women aged 18 to 40 were not married nor living with a partner in 2023. That's a difference of nearly 10%.
That's going to grow too, by the way, because they talk about this gap in politics. Well, one has quite a liberal politics per se, and others might lean the other way. But in all honesty, why should that matter if you want to have a family? But that becomes politics now. Having a family is now political.
Points from 2000. Data shows that more women than men are attending college, buying houses, and focusing on their friendships and careers over dating and marriage. Plus,
that's part of the divide. A lot of these ladies are going to college and getting straight up brainwashed by propaganda, and they become political nut jobs, basically.
There's the growing political divide between men and women, leading to ideological deal breakers. A 2022 Pew survey of single adults showed that only 34% of women were even looking for romance, compared to 54% of men. Marriage.
That's wrong. They're saying that 54% of guys are looking for romance. If you look at the Bumble, it's down 80 to 85%. They're saying that potentially 80% of guys have totally checked out of the market. But they're trying to frame it again like the guys are still looking after it and the ladies aren't, where if you go on these speed dating things, they're struggling to find guys. They go to these dating events and there's a majority of ladies. Because they're looking for the cash cow. They're looking for the ATM. They're looking for the Beta Bucks Deluxe. You know, the free meal ticket.
Rates overall are declining because there's less pressure to pair off and there are higher expectations for a good match. But men seem more satisfied with their options than women. A 2023 survey of college-educated women found that half blame their being single on their inability to find someone who meets their expectations. And women's rise in earning power allows them to be choosier. The challenges of finding a romantic partner have left American women more resigned than ever to stay single.
Yeah, the guys aren't sort of fed up with this kind of Western modern attitude. No, of course not. It's just that the ladies haven't found their Prince Charming. They haven't found their top 10% guy, which is fine. They can fight over that person, I guess. And now we just finish off with the pure comedy of why they're apparently happier after divorce. I mean, they're not looking for marriage, but once they get the divorce, they're now happy for some reason.
Studies show women are happier after divorce than men. Why is this? Women are more likely to self-reflect. They're more willing to go inward and hold themselves accountable for the things that they need to change in order to get different results.
Hold themselves accountable. That is honestly insane that she would say that with a straight face.
They're more likely to go to therapy. They're more likely to hire a coach, get the support, get the guidance, get the tools. They will invest in their well-being. They will join support groups. They will do what it takes to feel better, to not make the same mistakes. They take responsibility for their own happiness.
So once they get divorced, then they take responsibility for their happiness. But they get divorced because they're unhappy. I mean, make it make sense, please.
Step outside of their comfort zones, create new relationships, find hobbies and creative outlets, find fulfillment, learn how to fill their own cup and meet their own needs and not rely on a partner. Women are also more inclined to practice self-care, like healthy eating and mindfulness practices and getting exercise, which then improves their overall well-being. Women are also less likely to turn to...
So after getting divorced, then they get into better shape. Then they focus on their health. All right. I mean, again, none of this makes any sense.
Destructive behavior and unhealthy coping mechanisms, and they're great at reframing the situation and focusing on the future. They embrace the independence and the freedom. And all of those things are what...
I will agree on that point. They are very, very good, if not great, at reframing it, at making it seem like it's something else, that it's someone else's fault. They're amazing at that.
Adds up to creating a healthy, happy, fulfilling, amazing future after divorce.
And unfortunately, they can't do that during the marriage. They find it after. They find it
Studies
during the
show
divorce.
women are.
And again, studies show, experts show. I mean, it's all bullcrap. It's all cope. Anyway, gents, we're going to leave it right there. As always, thoughts, comments, but low. And hit that like on the way out. It takes 1.5 seconds. And smash that subscribe button right now. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace out.